You might be in a relationship yet silently battling a storm. Why does your boyfriend or girlfriend still follow their ex? That tiny follow button seems to hide 1,000 questions, 1,000 hidden burns. You feel deeply for them, you love them, but it feels like the shadow of their past still lingers between the two of you. This video is exactly for you. If you've ever been plagued by doubt, felt like you're not enough, or constantly thought, if they truly love me, then why do they still keep that person from their past in their online world? In this video, we'll dive deep into those unspoken truths, the ones we don't say out loud but quietly suffer from inside. This video will teach you how to understand your own emotions, how to control yourself in those moments when your mind wants to argue, but your heart just wants peace. If you're looking for security, self-respect, and balance in your relationship, don't miss a second of this. 1. Don't react with emotion, feel with logic. You're probably staring at one big question. Why is she still following her ex? It feels like time has stopped, and the world has shrunk. You love her, but something inside you is stirring. On one hand, your mind wants peace, but on the other, the waves of emotion are dragging you along. Thoughts are rushing in. If she loves me, why is she still following her ex? It feels like your mind is spiraling downward, and you start asking yourself a million questions about her behavior. But pause for a second. This moment is critical. Before you react in anger, take a deep breath and give yourself some space to calm down. When these first feelings hit, our mind reacts quickly. We immediately respond to what we feel. But here's the truth. Reacting fast only makes things worse. Especially in relationships, when these questions arise, you tend to react impulsively, leading to more conflict. But what if you stopped for just a moment? What if you took some time to calm yourself before you made a decision? How can I deal with this situation without reacting emotionally? Is a question that can help you approach this with clarity. So often, we give priority to our emotions, losing our peace of mind. But what if you knew that taking a moment and choosing not to react could make the situation much easier to handle? Instead of reacting immediately, you could take control of your thoughts and find a way to move forward calmly. Think about it. Why is she doing this? Swing. Is there insecurity within me that's influencing my feelings? Zrenia, am I truly valuing myself in this relationship? These kinds of questions will help you step out of the emotional turmoil and gain better control over your reactions. When you value yourself, when your self-esteem and the foundation of your relationship are strong, the actions of others won't disturb your peace. If you are confident in your self-worth, her following her ex won't shake your world. This is not something that automatically pulls you into a frenzy. But if you respect your self-worth and emotions, you'll handle this situation much more effectively. If you were to give yourself some space to breathe and reflect, you'd be able to see this situation in a clearer light. Self-reflection and calmness are your keys to peace. When you respond instead of react, you are able to approach her behavior with a much more balanced and measured attitude. It's easy to let emotions control you, but by taking a moment, you'll be able to approach the problem logically. Your self-worth, respect for yourself, and trust in your relationship will keep you grounded. If you can stay calm in moments like these, you'll be stronger, and your relationship will be stronger too. In moments of doubt, you'll realize that staying calm and using logic over emotion isn't just the best choice, it's the smartest one. 2. Follow does not equal love. You've probably asked yourself this question many times. Why is she still following her ex? It feels like the kind of question that constantly circles in your mind. You love her, but why is she holding on to her past? Surely a million questions are running through your mind. You might even be thinking, if she loves me, then why is she still looking towards that past relationship? The truth is, her follow button doesn't mean she's still in love with her ex. You need to learn to see this in a way that will bring you peace of mind. First, social media and digital platforms are spaces where people can easily stay connected with individuals from their past. Following someone allows a person to see updates from those who were once part of their life. This is not an indication of love. When we follow someone, it's often not about feeling emotionally attached to them, but about maintaining a connection to old memories or habits. Especially when a person has shared good times with someone, memories from those times may unconsciously resurface, and they may want to stay connected in some way. Now, when you think, why is she following her ex? The first thought that comes to mind is usually doubt. But it's important to remember that following does not equate to love. Sometimes a person follows their ex's social media simply because of nostalgia or the habit of being connected to them. It's not necessarily about rekindling feelings. It could simply be about keeping an old friendship alive. This is something that happens quite naturally in digital spaces, but it doesn't have to affect the current relationship. If you can understand this, you will be able to stay more at ease with the situation. People have their own habits. For some, following an ex on social media may not be a big deal, but for others, it can create doubt or discomfort. What's important here is how you choose to handle this situation. If you want to ask her, why are you following your ex? You have to realize that this may not be a deep emotional matter. She may simply be maintaining old connections or habits, and this does not mean she's still in love with her ex. Think of it this way. If you ran into an old school friend and talked to them for a few minutes, does that mean you are in love with them again? No, it's just a matter of reconnecting over old memories. Similarly, following her ex is not an indication of current feelings. It's merely a small part of her past. If you trust her and value your relationship, you'll realize that these minor details won't impact the deeper, more meaningful connection you share. So, following does not equal love. Once you realize this, you'll find it much easier to deal with the situation calmly and move past it. There are many little things in relationships that, from the outside, may not seem like a big deal, but they can trigger unnecessary anxiety. However, these minor issues don't truly affect the depth or trust within the relationship. If you trust in yourself and value the relationship, you'll see that these small things don't have the power to shake the foundation of your bond. When you see her following her ex, remember, it's just a small part of her past. It's not a measure of her love for you, but rather a product of old habits. Once you can acknowledge this truth, you'll be able to handle things more smoothly, and peace will be restored in your relationship. 3. Take a moment to look into the mirror of your self-worth, age, time, or the depth of a relationship. Whatever the factor may be, every relationship has an aspect that always leaves us questioning. When you see that your loved one is still following their ex, the first feeling that arises is, am I not good enough? Or, are they still looking back at their past? Searching for answers to these questions is less important than asking yourself, are you valuing your own self-worth enough? There comes a time when we base our thoughts, emotions, and the state of our relationship on others. If our partner prioritizes us, we feel loved and valued. But when something goes wrong, like when they follow their ex, we start asking, am I not enough? And at that moment, our self-worth becomes challenged. The reality is, your self-worth should never depend on someone else. Your self-respect, confidence, and value are strongest when you can honor yourself, when you know that you are enough. In this situation, if you evaluate yourself with confidence, You will easily realize that her following her ex does not diminish your value in any way. Her past is hers, and it is related to her experiences and memories. But your value is built on your actions, your character, your thoughts, and how you choose to see the world. When you prioritize your self-worth, you'll realize that her following her ex does not threaten your relationship's value or your self-respect. True self-worth is about loving yourself, respecting yourself, and staying true to who you are. When you think this way, you can become stronger and more confident. Giving yourself the importance you deserve and having faith in your own identity will only elevate your peace of mind and the love in your relationship. Moreover, if you don't value your self-respect enough, you may get mentally disturbed by the actions or words of others. If your partner has any connection with their ex, you may feel uncomfortable or unhappy, but that disturbance should never harm your self-confidence. If you feel the strength within yourself and know that you are enough, nothing they do will affect your self-worth. A relationship is strongest when both partners are aware of their self-respect, feelings, and power. If you maintain your confidence within the relationship, handling such situations becomes much easier. You'll understand that if your partner is attracted to their past, it is a personal choice, but it does not mean that you are less valuable than them. Your self-respect will keep you calm and give you the strength to deal with this situation. Learn to trust yourself. Confidence will show you the way to overcome such crises. Remember, in love and life, your greatest companion is your self-worth. When you respect yourself, the opinions or actions of others will not hurt you. 4. Relationships break or build between trust and doubt. Your mind might be caught in a strange conflict. I have to trust. But why do doubts creep in? When complications arise in a relationship, one question keeps circling in your mind: trust or doubt? It is between these two that relationships are either built or broken. When doubt enters a relationship, trust is often damaged in an instant. And when trust is shattered, it becomes very difficult for the relationship to return to its original state. Yet, trust is the foundation of every relationship. When your partner starts following their ex, the first thing you do is start doubting. Why is she doing this? There must be something hidden. These thoughts gradually overwhelm your mind. But remember, every question that arises from doubt can cause damage to the relationship. When you give in to doubt, your love and trust in the relationship will be harmed. You don't know it yet, but at that moment, fear and anxiety take away your peace. But let's think about this for a moment. By being swept away by doubt, you might create a situation where the relationship is at risk of falling apart. So what should be done? First, remember, trust is the key element in any relationship. If you keep yourself free of doubt and remain confident, your mental peace will remain intact. Here's the core idea. When faced with a doubtful situation, make decisions with logic. Don't just accuse your partner, but express your anxieties and feelings. Why do you feel this way? Why are you anxious? It's important to open up. This will start an open conversation in the relationship, which will later help build trust. As relationships mature, many things change. But the most important thing is, trust should never change. When the flow of doubt enters the relationship, it weakens the foundation. If you cannot trust her, the relationship will become fragile. But when both of you learn to trust each other, the relationship becomes stronger. If you ask yourself, why am I feeling so doubtful? The answer will come from within you. Maybe your past experiences have made you feel insecure, or perhaps your own lack of self-confidence is fueling these feelings. Whatever it is, you have the power to deal with it. Even though doubt arises, if you can maintain trust in your love, the relationship will never break. Remember this: The real challenge in a relationship is to find a beautiful balance between trust and doubt. If you are in doubt, ask yourself, why am I thinking this way? Is what's happening around me connected to my insecurities? Once you understand yourself clearly, restoring trust becomes easier. When doubt grips you, your first step should be to overcome the fear and restore your self-confidence. Never diminish the power of trust. If you and your partner can trust each other fully, a relationship builds effortlessly. Doubt comes and goes, but once trust is established, it strengthens the relationship. Between trust and doubt, we all find ourselves standing at some point. But if you want to strengthen your relationship right now, you need to build trust between each other. You must hold back from being swept away by doubt, stay calm, and take the right steps at the right time. Opening up about your feelings and trusting each other, this is the only way to bring balance into trust. 5. The one who breaks down inside can never truly hold a relationship together. A relationship never stands solely on words. It stands on emotional strength, self-confidence, and inner balance. But often, we ourselves begin to break down from within in such a way that it slowly pushes our partner away. From the outside, nothing may seem wrong. There's a smile on the face, conversations flow as usual, but deep inside, there's a storm of emotions tearing us apart, and that very storm silently erodes the roots of the relationship. This internal breakdown starts when we fail to make peace with our own emotions. Maybe they replied late to a message. Maybe they suddenly followed their ex again. Maybe today's conversations don't feel as warm as before. These seemingly small moments start causing chaos within. We begin to think, do they still love me like before? Am I losing value in their life? Are they starting to like someone else? These questions don't just breed doubt, they stab at our self-worth. And when you can't remain steady within yourself, insecurity takes hold. That insecurity soon turns into complaints, silent pain, and arguments over things that often don't deserve a war. Breaking down inside means losing control over yourself, surrendering to your emotions. When you begin to define your worth solely through someone else's behavior, your self-respect starts to fade. You might think, if they loved me, they wouldn't do this. But in that moment, you're forgetting that your value, your strength, and your emotional stability should never depend entirely on another person. The moment you get trapped in this dependency, you begin to lose yourself. And someone who loses their sense of self cannot sustain a relationship with integrity. A person who's constantly falling apart inside begins to crumble with every conflict in the relationship. They can't trust themselves, can't trust their partner, and can't even hope for the future. This creates a strain between partners, one that slowly builds distance. The worst part is, your partner might not even realize the pain you're carrying inside because maybe you're not expressing it. But every moment, you're becoming emotionally weaker. Eventually, this vulnerability takes the relationship to a point of no return. But this doesn't have to be the end. If you can acknowledge your inner breakdown and work to rebuild yourself from it, then you can give the relationship a new beginning. The first step is to have an honest understanding with yourself. You have to recognize your pain, your fears, your doubts. Only then can you decide how to express them to your partner. If you can't handle your own emotions, how can anyone else? Start building emotional resilience. To keep a relationship alive, you must first keep yourself steady. Self-confidence, self-respect, and emotional control. Until these three are solid within you, no relationship will ever bring you real peace. If you can trust yourself, no one can break you. And when you're strong inside, the storms of the relationship become easier to weather. So always remember, the one who breaks down inside can never truly hold a relationship together. Learn to love yourself, understand your emotions, and build a strong foundation within. Only then will you not only preserve your relationship, but also shape your life into something stronger, fuller, and more peaceful. 6. Don't let their past drive your present. One of the most invisible yet powerful threats in a relationship is the past. And when that past shows up in the shadow of an ex, it hits the present in ways that most people around you won't even notice. When you see that your partner still follows their ex, maybe not actively, but they're still connected in some way, it triggers a storm of questions in your mind. Are they still interested? If they love me, why do they still follow that person? Was I not enough? These questions start to pierce through your self-confidence, your love, and your peace of mind like silent thorns. At this point, most people make a mistake. They begin to judge their present relationship through the lens of someone else's past. Eventually, you'll realize that most of your attention and emotional energy is being drained by someone who technically isn't even part of the relationship. That ex is just a name on a follow list. But still, you've unknowingly handed your present over to them. Their ex may be a chapter from their life that's over. But when your fears, your restlessness, and your insecurities start letting that chapter steer the wheel, you've already given up control of your relationship. It's critical to understand this. The past does not define the present. People go through many phases in life. Just because a relationship ended doesn't mean it was wrong. And just because someone is still being followed online doesn't mean there are lingering feelings. Sometimes people follow others casually, without emotional attachment. But when you're feeling insecure, even the simplest acts feel like betrayal. And from that place, you start to question yourself, doubt your worth, and build resentment. But think deeply. Why are you letting your present be driven by someone who isn't even part of the story anymore? Are you really so fragile that a single follow can break your confidence? This is where your healing needs to start. If you don't build emotional strength from within, you'll fall apart in any relationship under the weight of doubt, fear, and hurt. Their past is not your enemy, but your own mindset can be. Ask yourself, does your partner spend time with you? Do they show care and respect? Do they value your feelings? Then why are you so afraid of a shadow that might not even exist in real life? Everyone carries pieces of past relationships, but that doesn't make them guilty. Guilt only exists if they disrespect, neglect, or harm the relationship they're in now. And if they're not doing that, maybe it's time to look inward. You have to realize you are their present. And if they truly value you, one name on a follow list won't change that. But if you assign dangerous meaning to every little thing, distance will grow between you two. If you run your relationship based on suspicion, where is the room for love? In the end, relationships are built on understanding, respect, and trust. And to protect that delicate bond, you need personal strength, emotional maturity, and self-worth. Don't hand over the steering wheel of your relationship to someone's ghost. You drive with your confidence, your clarity, and your light. So make the decision today. Don't let their past drive your present. You deserve a relationship shaped by truth, not by the shadows of what once was. Love is not about control. It's about understanding. Love is not something you can impose on someone, nor can you dictate every action they take. Love means caring for someone in a way that their freedom, individuality, and mental space remain intact. But in real life, when you notice that your partner still follows their ex, your heart starts to panic. You feel, is this really fitting in love? You wonder, should I ask them to stop? Or should I silently endure it? You stand at a place that is emotionally intense and irrationally frustrating. But it is exactly here that you need to understand. Love is not about control. It is a space of deep and subtle understanding. In such moments, the first thought that rises within you is, have they still not let go of their past? This question clouds your mind. You begin to ask yourself repeatedly, am I so insignificant that they still linger around the memories of their previous relationship? But have you ever realized these questions are less about them and more about your own self-worth? When you don't feel safe within love, these doubts arise. Yet love was never meant to be about holding someone down, dictating how they behave, or even controlling their digital existence. A healthy relationship is built on the foundation of understanding, where two individuals respect each other's limitations, feelings, and personal histories. Trust plays a major role here. But trust doesn't mean you'll understand or like everything. Rather, trust means learning to stay calm even when things don't go your way. Just because someone follows their ex doesn't always mean they are still emotionally involved or don't value you. But our minds often overanalyze such actions because we tend to see love as exclusive possession. If you feel secure in love, then many things won't affect you the way they might break someone else. You begin to realize that everyone has a past, and a digital connection doesn't always equal emotional presence. Sometimes, a person follows their ex merely out of social courtesy, past friendship, or habit. There's not always a revival of emotion behind it. But if you try to see your own worth only through your partner's actions, then every click, every follow, every like becomes a threat to your dignity, and that's where your breakdown begins. True power in love is revealed when you learn to love someone within their freedom. If you keep imposing restrictions on every behavior, if you view every interaction with suspicion, your partner will no longer feel comfortable around you. They'll start thinking before doing anything. Will this upset them? On swing. Will this cause a fight? And this mental discomfort will slowly poison the space of love. But if you understand that relationships are not just about having good times, but about comprehending each other's complexities, you'll find that love holds a deeper sense of peace, if only you don't turn it into a suffocating space of control. You may not like them following their ex, but if you approach it with understanding, you'll see that this small act cannot define the entire future of a relationship. Rather, how you emotionally secure each other determines that future. Finally, remember, love is not a lock that won't open without a key. Love is a space where each person can breathe in their own way. If you treat every action as something to be controlled, you will end up choking your own love. The most beautiful part of a relationship blossoms when you love someone in a way that makes them want to stay, freely, not forcefully. And that desire is the purest expression of love. So today's takeaway is crystal clear. Love is not about control. It's about understanding. Understand, feel, accept, and love in a way that liberates, not restrains. Every relationship we build either breaks or grows stronger between trust and doubt. And real love doesn't survive through control. It survives through understanding and inner strength. If you can remember that, you won't just save your relationship, you'll make it deeper and more meaningful. If this video spoke to you, please give it a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever been in a situation like this? Your story might help someone else see things differently. Your likes and comments are what inspire our next videos.